Let's start working later. Well, Lagorin, but actually, when the work actually begins at the time of the grain pile work, you have to sell it. It's actually worth $4. His work is worth $4 a day. Yeah. So now what's the problem? Also, okay, let us remember. He's not going to get any benefit from that worker. Why? Because the simple thing is because at first glance, the worker is paying him interest. Why is that? He is because since he didn't start working right away, it's like the guy lent him $30, and now each day he's paying him how much? He's paying him $4 a day. He's paying him four.
Paying three in interest.
Yeah, but he's paying him four. But he borrowed one, and he's paying back what? He's paying back every day four. Because he gave him the $30 for the 30 days work. Is going to start later, but when he does the 30 days work, his work is worth $4 a day. So he's paying him every day instead of $1. He's paying him $4. So you're not allowed to do it because that's the way we're learning because it's interest. Aval, but we learn. But if he started says, listen, I'm hiring you today for 100 days. Okay, also at $1 a day. Villagorin, and that 100 days is now going to also include the 30 days of the work of the Gorin. And now that work at that time, and at the time he's actually working the grain pile, it's already worth $4 a day. Mutter, in that case, you're allowed. Okay, why is that? Because since he hired him for 100 days, it's like, and he started working right away. That's the price. He hired him for one day, and he's paying him for the price of $100 for one long day. So he probably paid him $100 for one long day. Yeah, for one long day. No, for one long day is the point. So you're there for what? So you can never say what? Oh, he's giving him $4 of work per day. He was $100 for 100 days. That's all good by Charlie. He's not. He never borrowed the money. He paid him $100 for 100 days. He never borrowed the money. He got the money. It's one day.
And he's working immediately.
Yeah, he's working immediately. That's the point.
No
Right. He's not. He didn't lend them the money. Now the Gemara says 1 second. But how can you tell me that that's true? That's very nice. When you look at it the way that you looked at it, you can look at the second case. It's mutter because it's one long day. But v'isaka daita kar b'shloshim saw b'sela ani machelecha. But if you told me, like you, Rabbi Shmuel, told me yesterday, that if a guy says, "What? I'm selling you a car of 30 saw, okay, for $30, $1, $1 a saw." So b'sela you told me what? Rishon Kana, as they measure it out, each time the saw reaches the saw marking in the measure, the buyer already gets it, and he buys one saw, two saw, three saw, and already you can't renege. Each saw, as it's measured out, you can't renege. So you see that what we separate, once you make the price per piece, we separate each thing. Hanami here too, even when he says, "Look, I'm hiring you today for $100 a day for 100 days," let's say, comma mifsak pasak. Every single day that the guy worked, the worker bought back, let's say he bought back $1. You break up each thing. What you give me the price per day. So every day that I know it sounds funny, but think of it: the worker is buying the dollar that the worker with his work is buying the dollar. Yeah, but I'm saying, but the real point he's buying something. He's right. He's paying back, but he's buying the dollar that the guy lent him. Now he's buying it. The guy lent him one. He's buying it for four. Well, so according to you, since they're all separate, okay. So right, okay. Okay, because now he's not starting the work now, because since each day is separate, when all the money that's for the time of the grain pile, he wasn't paid yet. He's only starting the work later. So it's like he's holding the money that the guy gave him for the grain pile work in his pocket. Okay, he's like waiting, still same thing. It's all because you said it's all broken up. So it's not one long day. Okay, so he says, Medina Liyom. So how could even though the text is, it maybe has to be corrected, but when you told me that he's paying him a dinar a day for 100 days, and it turns out that at the time of the grain pile, you have to sell a mutter, it's worth $4 a day. You're allowed to do it. Amai, why is it mutter? Well, okay, mutter amai. Why is it permissible? What he's paying? He says he's paying the price. The worker is paying the price of waiting for me. Okay, waiting for me to give back the money. Waiting for his money. So it should be interest. The Gemara says, "What?" Amaro says, "You're making a mistake." He says, "Your whole reading is not correct. The whole way you read it is not correct." He says, and the truth is, it was never interest. even in the first part when it's forbidden,
Should be
it,
okay.
it wasn't interest either, right? It was never interest. The whole reading is wrong. The Tizbra, does it make sense to you? Zilzuli Basiris me also is a worker not allowed to give a guy a discount? Here, let's say the work in this business is usually worth 4. This guy wants a job. He says, "Listen, I'll do it for you. Give me the job. I'll do it for 2. Give me the job. I'll do it for 1." He's happy. He doesn't have every penny he gets when he gets a job. He's happy to have a job. So he's not interested. He's working. He agreed to work for less. That's all. Yeah, he's happy. He's happy to have a job. He said, "What, workers can't work for less?" So I said, and that's all the steps. And really, the truth is, there's no interest here, not in the beginning and not in the end. There's no interest there. There's no borrowing. The guy says, "Yeah, I'll work for a little bit of money. I'm happy to work for 30 days for $1." He's right. Saying everything. Your whole reading is wrong. There was never an interest problem here. There was never an interest problem here. He's not lending him any money. This guy agreed to work for cheap. Oh, so that's what I want to explain. There's no interest problem here, he says. Somebody says, he says, Maishna ratio, Maishna say. So how come in the beginning it's forbidden, and the end it's permissible? The beginning should also be permissible. The answer is Enachinami. It should be permissible. But ratio the local Abi Bahade Mehashta, but it just so happens that since the facts are that the worker is not going to work for the moment that he gets paid, but only later when the grain pile work happens, the threshing. It looks like to the onlooker, it looks like that he's paying the price of the guy waiting for him to give back the money. Okay, but say for the but in the second part, where he starts working right away, it doesn't look it. It's a rabbinic decree, yeah. It's a rabbinic decree. So he said you made a mistake. So your whole kasha is no kasha. You looked at it as if it was a serious issue of interest. So yes, the kasha does. When I say it's not serious, it's not. What you're looking at is not a legal principle of whether it's divided up or not. Man, the guy's working for cheap. That's all that's happening. But it just happens that the rabbis don't like the way it looks, so they forbade it. So therefore, you can't ask me a kasha from there because the rabbinic injunction doesn't reflect the true halachic workings of the case. And now we said,
New case.
when you're back to continuing in the Mishnah, that what if flax was still growing, let's say it still needs the ground, and he wants to acquire the flax, all he has to do is pluck some of it, and he acquires it. Now, the machlokas how this is working, but the simple way is going to be that he is going to that we're going to learn that the flax is considered the real estate. The flax is also the ground at this point because it needs the ground, and therefore we how do you acquire ground? By making any improvement in the ground. Improvement. You break through a fence, you build a fence, you lock a door, you make it up. So over here, when you pull flax up, how do you improve the ground? You're improving the ground by making it good for plowing. You're making space for plowing the ground. So now he says, but I preempted. So Gemara says, Mishum de Talash Kolshu can't understand because you pulled something, you pulled up a little bit of flax. How are you acquiring it? You didn't touch the rest of the flax. How are you making a kinyan? How are you making an acquisition of Avsheshes? But he said, what he says to him, Lech Yapeas Akarka, culture here, improve the ground at all, improve the piece of land, but Kani Kol Mashallah, and you'll acquire whatever is upon it. He's letting him make a kinyan, okay, and therefore what? In the ground so that he can acquire the flax. So therefore, once he to make a little bit of an improvement, he already is acquiring the flax as part of the ground. Other Rishonim learn different. Okay, now we want to talk about we're still on these Mishnayos. We're dealing with problems of when does the actual transfer of goods take place. It's very important because of problems of damages. When did the damage take place? Was it mine? Was it yours? Now, one of the things you will see, it's going to come up there today. You ever go to these stories? He says, you broke it, you bought it. You ever see that in the stores?
Yeah.
It's a big problem. I have problems always, and I don't like it. So that's what they're saying is a problem. But my point is, we have to know when did you make a kinyan. But I always had a problem. There's other problem, but not everything is a kinyan problem. There's also a nezik problem. One of the things that really bothers me, and that's why I don't like to shop in stores that are not well organized, in grocery stores, because things spill and things open, and I'm always disturbed by whose responsibility it is. So, for example, let's say I go to the milk dairy section,
right?
And I grab a thing, and the yogurt tumbles over and spills out. well, did I damage? I don't want to buy that yogurt. Did I damage his yogurt and have to pay him? Or but the guy had a faulty
They're
yogurt.
always my
Yeah,
fault.
yeah. Okay, but my point is, but I don't like I don't like stores that are sloppy. I try not to shop in
You're
because
the one that spilled the yogurt.
You man is sloppy.
How can you say he's sloppy? You're the one. That
no,
spilled the yogurt.
no. The yogurt was loose. The yogurt was loose. The cap was
That's
loose.
what you say.
That,
I say
that's what. No, I agree with. Wait, you're agreeing with me. You're agreeing with me. That's why I don't like it because I don't know. Did I do it? Did he
Let's
do
hear
it?
from an expert.
No, you're.
Well, you had to check it out. The date on the.
By the way, they do that. They pick. That's right. They pick it. I got people. They open up every cottage cheese. They open up every cottage cheese to smell it, and then they don't close it. And exactly, that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. They open up every one, and they don't close it. Then you pick. Then you try and get one.
The store sells it after the sell-by date, so you have to check is there mold.
You have to take out the whole.
But you're right. I watch it. I can't stand it. They open up every cottage cheese. Every single guy, they got to open up and decide if it's good or not.
They have to pay for them all.
Yeah, they should. Anyway, but my point is a little different. My point, there's a problem. That's not a problem just of ownership. It's a problem of damages. That's a problem of damages. It's a problem of damage. You have to worry about it. But I just had it in Israel, by the way. I just had it in Israel.
Really?
Yeah. I went to pick up something for my wife from the shelf. So I wanted one thing, and my hand touched another bag of crackers, whatever it is, and the crackers come out all over the thing. So did I break his cracker thing, and I got to pay or not? So I didn't want the crackers. I bought them. I bought them. I paid for them. You say I paid for them because I don't want anybody else's money. You say I don't want somebody else's money. But I probably the guy had a crack pack of crackers on the thing, and I'm end up paying. I don't like it.
Instead of crackers, let's talk about wine.
Yeah. But 1 second. So the point is, but what I'm explaining is, the things I told you are often not a problem. What I told, they're not a problem of who owns it. It's a problem of who damaged it. But over here, we're going to talk about damages in terms of, listen, once a thing is in my possession, when accidents happen or things happen, it's my problem. When things are in your possession, it's your problem. So now we're going to quote what we actually quoted before. You're going to have a deja vu because we already learned this. Okay, one guy is selling oil or wine, and the truth is, it's talking about anything. It'd be grain also, but just because later we're going to talk about drops, so we talked about liquids. And he says, okay, so one guy's pouring. Remember, so the seller is pouring out for the buyer into the measuring cup. Okay, and in the meantime, the price went up or price went down. Notice, for example, there's a reason why, for example, the seller, because the price went up, would like to cancel the deal, or maybe the price went down and maybe the buyer would like to cancel the deal. So when was the deal done? If the measuring cup hasn't become full, that they're measuring out, let's say selling them a liter and the liter's not full, then the stuff still belongs to the seller, and therefore what, the deal hasn't concluded, and the truth is they could get out of it. But once the measuring cup is full, now the produce belongs to the buyer, and the deal's finished. Okay, and if the price goes up or down, it's in his possession. Okay, well later we're going to explain more about it because we already explained the problem, but we're going to do it again. You might have sarsur, but let's say it's a different case. Let's say that there's not, this is machlokas rishonim. I'm reading it one way, but let's say there's a middleman. He's the guy who buys from the manufacturer and sells to the he buys wholesale from the guy and he sells to the retailer. So he's now pouring from the seller and he's pouring into his bucket, okay, into his measurer, okay, to measure out for the buyer, okay. We might have asarsa beinayim nishtabra chavis, okay, nishtabra l'sarsa. So let's say the bucket breaks, okay, it breaks, okay, and it belongs to really what? It's the whole problem. It's the middleman's problem, and he's going to have to pay for the loss of the produce, okay.
Also for a gain,
yeah, but we're going to have to see what that means, and the point that we're going to see in 1 second, because you could really believe the answer, because you could believe that the middleman is really just an agent for the buyer.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? No, that's what the Mishnah is teaching us. And even though you would think that's what the Mishnah is teaching us, even though you would think that the middleman is an agent for the buyer, and therefore the loss is the buyer's, the answer is not. He's his own guy. Okay.
I mean, if he's a retailer, you could consider him an agent of the seller more logical.
Okay, but yeah, but that's what they say. When I'm,
Because it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, you could say maybe both. Okay, but now furthermore, back to the original case. Let's say the seller is pouring out stuff into the measuring cup to sell to the buyer. Once he pours it out, okay, and he says he emptied the emptied his bucket. The chayav lahatif lo, but he still has to what? He still
Wait a
okay,
second.
yeah. He still has to wait and let shlosh tipin. He still has to after that still let three more drops drop out from, because there's always amount that stays that coats the sides. Okay. But once but he has to wait three drops. But what? Here, Kina, once he gave the three drops, here, Kina, and he put it up straight, and then, okay, umatzis, and again, and now the liquid gathers together. Hayu shamocher. That belongs, now whatever's left belongs to the seller. Okay, now we're gonna have to see. Right now, we believe that the reason is because the seller never intended to sell that part. Okay, that much. That after the three drops, he didn't. He never. He never was selling. And even what we said when we said that the seller has to give the three drops, the storekeepers don't have to. Why? Because he's so busy selling, it's too much. He can't hang around waiting for the three drops. He doesn't do it. Huda says no. He says Shabbos according to the conclusion of the Gemara, we read it this way, that what he says, listen, no. He says it's not all that. Really, even a storekeeper, shopkeeper also has to do the three drops. But if it's Erev Shabbos, it's to the evening already, it's late, and there's no time, so then he's allowed to not do the three drops. Okay, says the Gemara. The Gemara has a problem. What was the beginning? What's his business of? Is the measure full? The measure's not full. It says, "How me the demand? What are you talking about? You told when the measure's full, and the stuff belongs to, till the measure's full, it belongs to the seller. When the measure's full, it belongs to the buyer." He says, "Me the demand. Who does the measuring cup belong to?" If it's the buyer's measuring cup, okay, why are you telling me that until it's full that it belongs to the seller? It's not true. Since the measuring cup belongs to the buyer, and they're in a place where, for example, an alleyway or a place of both people, he's acquiring. How do you tell me it's not true? Okay, the elo the mocher. So might be what you might say. No, must be talking where what? Where the measuring cup belongs to the seller. Mida lokech. Well then, nismali mida lelokech. Then why is it even when it's full? Why does it belong to the buyer? Mida mocher. Since it's still the bucket of the measuring cup of the seller, it's still some exhaust. Either way, look at it, doesn't make any sense. And the law makes no sense. Rabbi Lai he says no, but mida sarser. It's a mida of what the wholesaler lent them. The wholesaler lent them a measuring cup. We learned this before. Okay, and therefore what? So now it makes sense. Why is that? So now, since the wholesaler lent it, what is his intention? He's lending it to both the buyer and the seller. So look, while they're measuring out, he's lending it to the seller till it fills, and the second it fills, he's lending it to the buyer. So now it makes perfect sense. So it's interesting. So this is what was the kasha before? If you look at it, make up your mind. Does it belong to the buyer or the seller? The answer is no. Well, for half of the process, it belongs to the buyer. Half of the process, it belongs to the seller. For the process, until the measuring cup is full, it belongs to the buyer. It belongs to the seller. To the seller. And therefore, what? Therefore, if anything that happens is his, whether it goes up or down. Once it's full, the wholesaler has lent it to the buyer. So then any up or down after that is his. I says, 1 second. How are you telling me that this belongs to a third party, to the wholesaler? And Nishma the Sar. So then you tell me we had a brand new case in a minute that said if there was a middleman between them, so if it broke, it's the middleman's problem. Mechlal the Reish Labasar asking. And so the implication is that up till now, until we got to there, we weren't talking about a middleman. I said, nah. You're making a mistake. Both of the cases middleman, but when we say middleman, we mean a middleman and his bucket. In the other case, we just mean the middleman without his bucket. Reisha Amida, okay, in the beginning, the first case, yes, there's a middleman involved, but he's not involved. He just let them. They just get this. It's his measuring cup without the guy. He's not involved. He just let them the cup. Okay, he says we're safe, but at the end, there, it's his cup, it's his barrel, and it's him. He's involved. He's involved in the transaction.
The person using his barrel though.
Yes.
But he's not involved.
He's not. He just lent them the measuring. He's measuring utensil. Yeah.
What's he measuring from?
The
barrel.
The seller is
the
seller's taking his barrel and pouring into the measuring barrel of the merchandise. That's all. And they have marks on them and marks that show
you
so
know how
much,
you're getting.
half a liter, 3/4 of a liter, etc. Okay, now we have another kasha. Well, let's look at the Mishnah. We said Akina Metzes Hayu Shomacha. We said if you're gonna lay it, if you're gonna turn the barrel, some people say on the side, and what? And once he's given out the 3 drops, we said that whatever accrues after that belongs to the seller. Okay. Now I told you our assumption is why, because our assumption is that the seller says, "Listen, come on, this you realize I don't know if you ever did this stuff. It's a thankless game. It never ends. You do it, then you they used to have in Israel. A lot of people are fundraising. There's a lot of fundraising jokes in Israel. So there's a joke that this guy, a Jewish guy, old Jewish guy, goes into a bar, and there's this big redneck in there, showing off his muscles. And he says that he takes watch this. He says, "Give me a lemon." He says to the bartender. The bartender gives him a lemon. He takes his hand and he gets a whole bowl full of lemon juice, and he opens up his hand, and the lemon looks like it's been in the desert for 10 years. He says, anybody gets one more drop out of this thing, I'll pay him $100. Let's see your muscles. So this little old Jewish guy walks up, no muscles, no nothing. He says, no problem. He goes up, he grabs the lemon. He says, and he gets out 1 drop, 2 drops. He gets a whole glass of lemon juice out of the lemon. The guy looks up. He says, "That's impossible. That never happened. Nobody ever gets 1 drop after we had you." He says, "I collect money for the JNF." He says, "Yeah." Anyway, so the joke is here. You say it's a thankless, endless game. So you have a problem. If I give you how much I put into the measuring cup for you, no, you're going to sit there for 10 years till you wipe out every drop of the oil, etc. And there's always going to be a amount of every process of transfer of goods has some there's some loss and residue, etc. It's endless. It's endless. There's always a film. So our assumption,
how if it's warm or it's cold. It's in the winter time.
Yeah, also right, exactly.
Viscosity.
You got a million problems there. A million problems. And I just had it today because I have to take these drops, for my eyes. So I don't want to get another 3rd bottle. So I grabbed the old one because I wasn't sure if I got the 2nd eye. So I grabbed the old one. I said, I can get a little more drop. I did. I got another drop out of the old one. I did. I got another drop out of the old one. So anyways, things like this. So our assumption is, it says, listen, I'm not selling you that much. When I gave you this thing, I'm not selling you the price didn't include this. I'm not selling you that much. It's not yours. Okay, now that's our assumption. He saw like Rabbi Law. Okay, when Rabbi Law went up there to Israel, Ziri. He found Ziri. Amalei, he said to Ziri, he says, "Mikan." Now there's a machlokas, but I'm read it one way. Mikan tona das naye Rav Midas. Is there who's here who Rav taught the Mishnah of Midas that we're learning? Who is anybody here who learned the Mishnah that we're learning about the measuring cups from Rav, who explained everything? So he says to him, he says, Achabe Rav Yitzchak bar Dimi. So he pointed to Rav Yitzchak bar Dimi. He said, yeah, he's the guy. He learned this Mishnah from Rav. Amar Leis, he said to him, Michael Kashala. So he said to him, he said, what's your problem? What do you want to know? What's your difficulty? He says, the Tanani says, I'll tell you what. He says here, Kina Umatzis, he said, the guy bent over the barrel after he put the 3 drops. And now it accumulated again. It belongs to the buyer. It belongs to the seller. Pardon me. Here's what's bothering me. If the assumption is that the guy's not selling what accumulates after the 3 drops, didn't we learn in Trumos? Okay, now what? A guy is pouring out Truma. Okay, Truma is serious stuff. It's none of your business. You got to give it. Okay, Kina umitza. Okay, if he bent it over and accumulated what? Okay, these drops accumulated. I said Truma. It's still Truma. What? Okay, and what? And therefore what? And so you see that even after the 3 drops, the stuff, okay, belongs to whom? It has to belong to the buyer. Just like that's still Truma, so it has to belong to the buyer. Amar Lei, so he says, nah, he says, you're making a mistake. He says, it's not because, pardon me, okay, I made a mistake. So just like over here by Truma, it belongs to the Kohen, okay, or it has to go to the Kohen. Also here, it should belong to the buyer. Amalesi, he said, no, he said, you made a mistake. He says, Ha'it Marallah. He says, in our Mishnah, you made a mistake. You made a wrong assumption. You assumed in our Mishnah why the continued residue belongs to the seller because he's not selling it. No. Mishum Yevish Bailim. The reason because the buyer has no time, so he's not going to stand there forever. You see, he has no time. Yeah, the buyer says, I don't want it. I'm not standing here anymore. So you go sitting. He says, it's okay, keep it. It's yours. So therefore, but when is that true? That's true, but that's true by a buyer. But truma, what are you going to do? Truma's truma. No, the truma could be the truma. He can be mochel on the money, but he can't be mochel on the holiness of the truma. It's not up to him. Okay. Now we said afterwards, Rabbi Yehuda said no. We said with the Mishnah said what? The shopkeeper doesn't have to do the 3 drops. So Yehuda says no. He says Erev Shabbos. Okay, when it's dark. Now we don't know what he's referring to. He's referring to the law of the shopkeeper or the law of the seller. The previous opinion said what? A seller has to do 3 drops, and then he said the shopkeeper doesn't do 3 drops. Now when he said on Erev Shabbos, okay, we don't know who's he referring to. The normal seller or to the shopkeeper. He says Ibailu, so that we were in a doubt. We had a query. Rabbi Yehuda, Areshakai was Rabbi Yehuda when he made his caveat, and he said on Erev Shabbos, okay, is he talking about the first case that every seller has to do what? Has to do 3 jobs, ulakula, and he's being makel. He says no. Every seller when it's Erev Shabbos and everybody's in a rush, he doesn't have to do it. Okay, let's say the rabbis give it to him. Oh, Dilma Seifa, no, maybe he's talking about the Seifa when it said what that the shopkeeper doesn't have to give the 3 drops. So the Chomer he's saying no. You guys say the shopkeeper never gives the 3 drops, and I'm saying what? No, only on Erev Shabbos he doesn't have to give the 3 drops, and all the rest of the week is like anybody else. He has to give the 3 drops. Shema, come, I'll bring you a proof to decide the query. The Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Yehuda Omer, it's more clarified. Yehuda says Erev Shabbos chenvani patur. So in Erev Shabbos when it's getting dark, the shopkeeper is patur because he's busy. So you see what he was coming to be stringent. And what? Even the shopkeeper we can only be lenient only in Erev Shabbos. Okay, now we're going to learn another big problem. You send the kid out to buy you stuff in the store. You send a kid out. So we're going to have a machlokas between the rabbis and Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to explain it simply. The rabbis say when you send a minor to buy something, nobody's trusting a kid. I'm sorry. When you send a kid to go buy something, what you're doing is telling the shopkeeper, the kid's supposed to let you know what the guy wants. Send me the stuff with a grown man. Send me with your delivery guy. He's not saying send it back on my kid. But the kid shows us, my daddy wants to buy this and that. He expects you to send it with the delivery guy, not with the kid. That's the opinion of the rabbis. Yehuda says no. He says when a guy sends his kid, he decided he wants you to send it back with the kid. He's actually telling you he wants it with the kid. Now we're going to see. So when a guy sends his minor kid, he sends his minor son to the chanvani. We'll leave the coin out, but it doesn't matter. And we can put the coin in. He sends him, let's say, with $1. Okay, and the amount that he's buying is $0.50 worth. Okay, so he measured out $0.50 worth. Shemen, okay. The so they gave him back the $0.50 and change. He sent the kids with $1. He orders $0.50 worth of oil. He measures the oil, sends it back with the oil in the bottle, the oil in the bottle, and $0.50. Okay, socher, it's okay. Shavar, so the way back, the kid breaks the bottle. The he loses also the change. So he lost the oil and the bottle and the change. He says the rabbis say what? That the shopkeeper is responsible for everything, for the bottle and for the whole buck. Okay? Huh?
Why?
Because the rabbis hold that the kid was just there to order the stuff, and the shopkeeper was supposed to send it with the delivery boy. The shopkeeper was the shopkeeper was never supposed to send it with the kid. The kid was telling what the father wants, so the shopkeeper has to send it with the grown man. You see, the kid's just ordering. The father didn't send it. He didn't want him to give it to the kid. Yeah. Huda Poter, he says no. He says the shopkeeper is exempt. Shalmanas Kain Shechel. That's why the father sent the kid that he should send him back with everything. Now Umodim Chacham the Rabbi Yehuda, but here's what's interesting. The rabbis admit to Rabbi Yehuda if the kid shows up with the bottle, And the shop with the kids holding the bottle, and the shopkeeper measures the stuff into the bottle, putter. That at least that even the rabbis agree that then the shopkeeper is exempt on the bottle. Now,
Even though it said earlier that until it's full, he's got it.
yeah, the whole thing is hard to understand. Now, Bishlama be'isa v'shema v'hapligi. Listen, I can understand the argument of the rabbis in Rabbi Yehuda about the oil and about the money. Okay, I understand, and about the 50 cents. Okay, why? No, why? The Rabbanan Sabbath, because like we said, the rabbis believe that when you send a little kid, you're only sending to order what you want, and obviously the shopkeeper was never supposed to give a little kid the goods, and therefore he's responsible. Rabbi Yehuda Sabar, they should do it, and no, Rabbi Yehuda says no. If you send a kid, he's send it back with my kid. But understand, but the bottle, he says. Why did the rabbi say that the shopkeeper is obligated? Since the father sent the bottle with the kid, he already gave up on the bottle. The father sent the bottle with the kid. He's just like the father sent an irresponsible kid with the bottle.
With this responsibility, and he feels like now he's a big man.
Yeah.
Doing what the daddy does.
That's right. But I'm saying, we're saying, listen, I understand why the rabbis make him responsible for the oil, etc. But how can the rabbis, even if the father didn't want to send it back to the kid, but the father sent the kid with the bottle? He already sent the kid with the bottle. So why are you making him pay? He shows you that he threw it away. He threw away the bottle. Now the truth is, you have to realize you can ask the kasha on the dollar also. Then why do you also threw away the dollar? So Tosas answers. Tosas answers. But the point is looking good. But the main point is like we said, why are the rabbis? The father threw the bottle away. Why are you obligated? Okay, the buck, yeah. But why are you obligated the shopkeeper for the bottle? The father put the bottle in the hands of the kid. He already threw away the bottle. When a person throws away the money, I'm not responsible for it. So what it says, you make a mistake. That particular case is talking where the kid's father is a bottle salesman. Okay, and the shopkeeper, when he picked it up, it's a special case. He was looking for flaws, and we have a rule when somebody's selling somebody something and they agreed on a price, and the guy picks it up just to see that it's not flawed, which it generally isn't. If it breaks, it's already his. It's already his. That case, it's already his. Why? Because they agreed on a price, and he's just checking it over for the flaws. It's already, because it's not going to have flaws usually. He says that was the case. He says why? Okay, the Shmuel, like Shmuel said. Once the craftsman and the buyer already agreed on the price, and the guy just picked up the pot to see that it's not flawed, then and accidentally broken his hand, Chaim, the buyer is obligated to pay because he already acquired it. That's the case. The Gemara says, nice. It's called 1 second. Very nice. Forget about whether we like it or we don't like it, but you can't say that. You can't tell me that our Mishnah is saying that the shopkeeper is responsible for the accidental breaking of the bottle when he was checking it to see if he wants to buy it, because name of the Shmuel Tanai, then it's going to come out that Shmuel is against Rabbi Yehuda. He's against one at a time. You can't say the Mar Paskin against the Tana.
So can't like the Rabbanan.
You can't. He didn't say that. When a Tana says the halacha is like this one or that one, that's fine. But when Shmuel said in his own name, this is the halacha, he's personally fighting with Rabbi Yehuda, and that he can't. Now, Rabbi Yosef, Damar Tabayu, but Rabbi Yosef. Okay, so we're still stuck. So then, why are the rabbis making the shopkeeper responsible for the bottle? The father sent the bottle. The answer is no. The answer is you made a mistake. The father didn't send the kid with the bottle. This is the modern world. They supply the bags in the grocery store, not you. Until they go green. That's why I'm living in Florida. And I want you to know something. And this is not, and it's not me. I found clear scientific reports that those little thin plastic bags are the best thing for the environment. They're the best thing for the environment. They destroy. First of all, they generally use more. Many people generally use them more than once anyway, because they use them for garbage and other things, etc. And the footprint on the footprint in the environment is much less than the reusable bags that they're making people buy. It's much better. It's much better. And the plastic in the ocean is not from those bags. That's not where it's coming. That's not where it's coming from. Other things. Other than the fishermen's, not all these things. Anyway, I don't believe me. The mamish scientific reports. Just a word from your sponsor. Anyway.
These are glass or earthenware, and they are compostable.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm not living in California, that's for sure. I'm telling you, forget about that. Okay, now, anyway, so now the
Almost
point is, so
10
you
there.
made a mistake. You thought he sent the kid with the bottle. No, the shopkeeper is going to give him, the kid came to buy oil, and the shopkeeper is going to give him the bottle. He says the answer, that's a we're talking about. The shopkeeper also sells the bottle. He says what? Because the Rabbi Yehuda the time Rabbi Yehuda is following his reason. Rabbi the time I said, how come? So 1 second. So if the shopkeeper is selling the bottle, what's going on? Like we said, it's everything now is hunky dory. It's no problem. The reason why the rabbi says he's responsible for everything is because the father never told him to place anything into the hands of the kid. He expected to send it with the delivery guy. And Yehuda holds that the shopkeeper is not responsible because the father, when the father sent the kid, he's saying put everything in the hands of the kid, so everything is fine. One second, if that's true, same as safer. So then, how can the rabbis ever agree? Both the chacham and Yehuda b'zman she'atzluch is beyond tinok. Okay, so then why should the rabbis agree that when the bottle's in the hand of the kid and he pours it in, since he never was supposed to put the bottle in the hand of the kid, even when the kid's holding the bottle, since the bottle came from the shopkeeper and the father never told him to put anything in the hands of the kid, why is the shopkeeper exempt? Well, okay, he says he only sent him. He only
give the message.
To give the message. So this, I think, even though it's a cliffhanger, we're going to wait till tomorrow because it's going to be an update. We're going to have to give a different answer to explain why.
He gets on his bicycle, bring everything home, and guess what happens?
It falls.
My father, his story says the mother gives the kid's going to the Hebrew school there, so she gives him 1 nickel for a candy bar and 1 nickel to put into tzedakah. So the kid's walking down the street, flipping the coin up, and flip and catch it. One time he misses, and the nickel goes down the sewer. He says, God's nickel.
That's God's nickel.
Candy bar, what's in there?
Yeah.
That's like the story. There are a lot who associate with non-Jews for communal needs. So the rabbi and the priest and the minister decide to put their blood, and they decide to collect for the people affected by the flood. So they're discussing it, and the minister says, you know what? We'll draw. We put in a lot of effort here. We'll draw a little circle on the ground, and whatever falls in the circle, we'll keep, and whatever falls outside the circle, we'll use for the community needs. So the priest says, Sean and I have a better idea. Whatever falls in the circle will be given to the community, and whatever follows outside will be keeping for ourselves. So the rabbi says, I'm shulgik, gentlemen, but I have the best idea. We'll throw it up, and whatever the Rabban Shalom wants, he can catch.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, I meant to have what's going on with the Gemara was talking about the changing ownership in the Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
Now in the Zikin, the definition of Rosh Hashanah, is that the same definition as in Norway? That they have to have
Wow, what a great question. So yes, I wanted to bring it up yesterday. We had it yesterday, the day before. We had a case where the Simcha is Rosh Hashanah, but it is Rosh Hashanah. But it's really like a Rosh Hashanah because they both have rights to be there. So so the answer is no, it's not exactly. Why? Because by Shabbos, Rabin and Yachid is really structural. You can't have Rosh Hashanah without Mechitza. There's no such thing. But when it came to these things, we can consider like the alleyway without Mechitza still to be like it's his place. But in other words, ownership doesn't define private domain for Shabbos.
Right. Also, that's brought me up. He said, I own the house up in Richmond Court in Staten Island, right?
Yeah.
Now, every house has a sidewalk.
Yeah.
Now, you are the owner of the house. I'm responsible for the sidewalk.
Yes.
But I can't put my sukkah on the sidewalk.
Exactly.
Because one person can't walk down.
Right.
So consider it as part of the citizen.
But it could be the other way. It could be even without any. It could be for ownership. The fact that there's no walls doesn't mean I don't own this piece of land. I own this thing. For Shabbos, it's not a Rosh Hashanah, even though I own it.
Yeah.
Even though
Because that's not fenced in.
that's right. That'll make a
But
difference.
in
So
Florida,
yeah.
there's a special thing that a condo owner has no responsibility. So, for example, if you're in New York and you live on the 8th floor and your water heater breaks and you swamp all the apartments below, they all sue you. In Florida, they can't.
I want to tell you something. I just saw something great for Century Village. I saw they have here's a way to make a sukkah that mamish portable. What do they have?
What?
A portable. I'll tell you what they have.
They have a portable.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something great. This is what they have in all these big places like Home Depot, etc. There's the it's like a camping shower.
Right.
It's on a like it has aluminum, and you just flip like this, and you have a shower.
Right.
So on that you put stock.
Yeah, but it's not big enough.
No, it is for one person.
The top is big enough.
Yeah, and then you put stock.
All right. Now, I bought during
Hashem
COVID.
humbles us.
I bought a pop.
Okay,
Yeah,
Put it on the lawn and then maybe take it down.
yeah, I know.
But now, then I get violence. So if I ever have to stay again, bylaws say that to send me a registered letter and they have to give me 10 days to reply. So I'm putting up the sukkah and I'll get the letter and I'll reply. I shut down.
That was clear. This was clear. This happened in
That's
America.
like-
It was well known. All the judges knew. The people would complain. So I'll give you 7 days to take it down. They knew they
Well,
did
no,
that.
that's the old joke.
But it wasn't just a joke. It was serious. They do.
In Canada,
It was the young Israel of Pippin Everett.
Thank you very much for
in
asking.
it was so busy. We can't put
Yes, I
like
know.
an and you can't put a mezuzah on the doorpost.
Wow.
So the court in Canada said that the religious freedom trumps the condos.
And they could. Wow.
But that's Canada.
Now, you know what they
Here,
did in Chicago, which is beautiful? They have a problem. I had this problem. They have, you can get a fine. In these cities where they collect the garbage, if you put the garbage out not on your day,
You get fined.
You get fined.
Yeah,
So the garbage is muktzah.
yeah.
So the Jews, when you have a 3-day yonta for these things, they got to bring it. In Chicago, they mamish made it legal.
That you could do
No,
it.
they on yonta, the
That
Jews were allowed to
the
put their
Jews
thing
have
out early.
butter.
They were allowed to put their
In Dallas, the city gives you a garbage can that has a special thing so a machine can pick it up and dump it.
yeah.
And you're not allowed to put on the side. You get this one bin. So if you have 9 kids and a 3-day
Oh yeah.
you have to make friends with all the goyim to put the garbage in their bins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a
Yeah.
good Erev Shabbos.
Good Erev Shabbos.
Good Erev Shabbos.
Anyway, you see that's the difference. You're right. By money, it's really just a bit of ownership.
Yeah. But on the other hand, then how could somebody?
Bring me wine. Don't forget my 3 drops.
When somebody says that the thief, he steals money in somebody's house and goes out, that he's putter because because in the Chal Shabbos, that could be Chal Shabbos. And the average house is not facing what for Shabbos is the definition of a Shusha Rabbim. You listen
By
living on
us,
Broadway,
But
yeah.
them it was common that not everybody that you
No,
actually would
but
go
you
out,
have-
that house would go out to Rosh Hashanah.
That's
You're right.
really-
The
it was
courtyards were not.
The main thing was within courtyard.
Yeah,
You
the
had to
courtyards
go
were not,
to the
yeah.
porter, then
Yeah.
to the morgue,
Right.
and then your first one.
Right. You have to say there's a case with the house open to the Rosh Hashanah for sure.
Yeah.
That was the case.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you
you're
very
right.
much, Rabbi.
My
Green.
pleasure. How you doing? You
Okay.
traveled away?
I had to go visit my brother. Unfortunately, he's a reporter, but trying to get him into a situation where he can have quality of life. So that
Where is he live?
he lives in Aberdeen, New Jersey. So that's thank you very much. But and then his wife is not able to handle all of the stress because then that created problem level 2. And then
That's
so
not-